So you want more time off? Great. If you're a business owner and you're struggling with the demands of work, I'm about to show you exactly how to take off 26 Fridays a year, and you get to give it to your employees, which will make them really happy. You talk about retention, recruiting, stuff like that. It's going to help in all areas. Let's take a look. Let me just say that before I show you this, talk to your lawyer, CPA, state rules, all that stuff. This is what legal people are for. This is called the 980 method. Okay, so let me turn my pencil on here. So the 980, and essentially it's exactly as it sounds. 9 days you work, 80 hours. So you can structure this a lot of ways, and I'm going to show you how we structured it and tell you why we structured it that way. This has been a few years since I owned a company and ran a company that did this, but this is how we did it. So we started our day at 7:30. We took a 45-minute lunch, so from 12 to 12:45. And then we got off at 5:15. That's how we did it, right? And that would be every week, Monday. That's terrible. It'd be every week, Monday through Thursday. So Monday through Thursday, that was our schedule. Now, on Friday, what would happen is the first 4 hours of Friday would go to this week right here. So that give you your 40 hours. And the next 4 will go to the next week, right? So we split the payroll right in half on Friday. That gave us 40 hours here and 40 hours here, right? So we had 40 hours. We had 40 hours both times, and so that way it didn't matter, what happened. We had 40 hours, and so the key was we had to split that time. Again, talk to your CPA, attorney, all that good stuff. Now, a few things that's pretty simple, right? So a few things I would point out. We used to open at 8, and then we changed it to 7:30. And so we used to open at 8, we changed it to 7:30. So we said, hey, get here 30 minutes early. And then we used to have lunch from 12 to 1, and we moved it to we took 15 minutes off there, and we used to close at 5, and we just added 15 minutes there. So that gave us 30 extra minutes. That gives 30 extra minutes here. That was an hour. It didn't feel like you're really working an extra hour that day, because we just tacked on 15 minutes at the end, 30 minutes at the beginning, and 45 minutes for lunch. The other thing I would say is that if you're an owner and you want more family time, you want more time, freedom, don't go super hard on the 45 minutes, right? Don't go hard on the 15 minutes. Don't go hard on the 30 minutes. You want them to be there on time and stuff, but if they get there at 12:50, okay, let it slide, not that big of a deal. Because what you're going to find is that the Thursday before, so it's Thursday night, or Thursday day rather, and you are off that Friday. That Friday is going to be a payday Friday, and employees are going to be excited. They're off and they get payday. It's the best thing ever. So that Thursday, let me tell you something, work is going to get done. And you'll find that if work demands they have to work over, they would rather most times work Thursday night than on Friday. From their perspective, they're getting paid overtime Thursday night or Friday. It doesn't really matter. But from your perspective, you're sitting there going, okay, I just need this work done. Okay, so I don't care if it's done Thursday night or Friday. It doesn't really matter to me. I just need it done. And then the other thing we did is we had a flipped schedule for some employees. And so let's say, Bob, we'll call here. So on the Friday off, Bob would go to the office. Okay, that's what he would do. And then he'd get off a day during the normal Monday through Thursday to make up for, he'd get off the other Friday actually to make up for those 8 hours, because Fridays are always 8 hours. So we just flipped, and you can talk to your CPA again about how to structure this legally so you get in trouble and all stuff. And I think California has some weird rules about it. So talk to whoever that you need to talk to get this right. But once you do this, all of a sudden now you get off 26 Fridays a year. And here's the best part. It gets better. So let's say it's Labor Day, right? Labor Day is coming up, right? Now, Labor Day, you're off on Monday. And then either the Friday before or that Friday, either one is a holiday. So they have a 4-day weekend, because Labor Day they're off, or they have a 3-day work week, right? That's how it works. And so it's just the best. It doesn't really matter. And then what I would encourage employees to do is to be careful, because it's 9 hours to take off a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, but to stack their vacation up. So now, let's say Labor Day it was a payday before, so you're off that Friday before. It's a 4-day weekend, so that's 4 days you got. And then you got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you got 4 days before, after Labor Day. So it's a 4-day week because it's off before. And so now maybe you take your vacation and you take a 40-hour vacation that week. And so now instead of a 4-day vacation for 5 days typically, you get the 4 plus the 4 you had before. So it's an 8-day vacation. So then about Christmas and New Year or 4th of July or whatever your holiday schedule is, all of a sudden you can really stack those days in there. You lose a little bit because a Monday through Thursday is a 9 hour. So if someone just takes off a random time, a random Tuesday, it's 9 hours instead of 8. But if they can stack them, and that's what you want to encourage them to do, is to stack these days together, they can really make their vacation go a lot further. Their time off really compounds. And they're already getting off 26 Fridays a year, and those are paydays. So it's honestly the best thing that someone showed us to me years ago. I was like, man, we gotta try this. And I remember talking to the company I worked at, owned by my father, and I was like, yeah, we need to try this. And we did, and the employees absolutely loved it. And Thursdays, before the Friday off, if we had to stay late to get something done, they would crush it because they didn't come on Friday. It was payday, and they were off. And so they would stay late. Sometimes they had to work on that Friday. But guess what? That was overtime. So did it suck? Yeah, sure. But it was overtime. And they loved the fact that the day that they had to work was overtime. That Friday now is time and a half if they were a non-exempt employee. Exempt employees, we had different rules, for, as you can look all that stuff up. But non-exempt employees, they got time and a half to be there on a Friday. Who doesn't want that? So if you got any questions, again, talk to a CPA lawyer. But when I'm working with my clients, this is trying to help them get more free time so that they can really enjoy owning their business. And this is a way in which you can encourage your employees to take back some of their time to enjoy working for you. And now as you go and you try to step out of the business, you're telling them you want them to enjoy their life more too. So it goes hand in hand. They're not looking at you going, man, this guy only cares about himself. No. It's me taking care of you, but also it takes care of me, right? And so work this out. Go ahead and implement it and tell your customers, hey, we're closed every other Friday. You'll start to figure out most of them won't even call you on Friday, period, because they can't remember which one it is. Or they might ask, hey, is this the Friday you're closed or open? I can't remember. Not a big deal. You'll train your your customers, and your customers just won't bug you as much on Friday. And if they need something by Friday, they're going to be trained to know, hey, we're going to have this by Friday. We'd be open or not. They're going to start telling you stuff. And that's going to be really helpful because now you can get it done earlier in the week and prioritize better. So if you got any questions, drop in the comments. This has been probably one of the biggest game changers of my career was adopting this schedule. I hope it works for you.